You're joking, aren't you? It's the Teesside Chef. I'm making the most epic chicken pie today, and I'm building a nest here, just like I built a happy nest at home for my family. But I'm building this nest for my pie bird chum here, because I want to show you if pie birds actually work, and I'll be revealing all later, so stick around for that. And this isn't just a chicken pie, you silly billies. It's a chicken and bacon and mushroom and leek and sweet corn and all sorts pie. So I fried 100 grams of thin, streaky bacon to start off with, and I'm going to chop a leek fairly small now, because I'm not too keen on big chunks of leek in my pie. But I guess you lot can chop big chunks if you like, it's your funeral. But you definitely want to sweat it down first in these lovely bacon juices, because bacon juices and leek get along like an absolute house on fire, to be honest, to be fair. And I'm really looking forward to enjoying this with my missus when she gets in. She'll be home late though, no doubt. She's been staying late at the office a lot lately. She does work hard, like I have to say, and I'm working hard here because I'm chopping 150 grams of mushrooms and I'm going to add them in the pan. And as always, you're going to need to salt these veggies as they gently fry away, and there's a right party going on in our pan here. And after about 10 to 15 minutes, they're all off their boxes now, so let's leave them to come down and crack on with the life and soul of this pie party. And that will be a simple white sauce that will bring everything together for a laugh and a carry-on. So to start off, I'm just going to roughly chop a small onion here into 4 pieces, and I'm going to add that to 650 millilitres of whole milk before adding 3 or 4 dried bay leaves to it, and 8 fresh peppercorns, and you need exactly 8, so don't throw them in like confetti like all the guests did at my wedding. Hey, it was a lovely day. And while that's gently simmering on a low heat, I'm adding 50 grams of butter into another pan, and I'm going to gently melt that, and I already know that this pie is going to create an absolute ton of washing up. I'm not worried though, as I can do all that later on, because I'll no doubt have the house to myself. The wife will be going out again. Every night she goes out, bless her. She doesn't like to disturb me late on a night though, so she stays at her friend's quite a bit, which is quite considerate of her, I think. And to be fair, she always insists on doing all the laundry. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Good teamwork. Anyway, I'm just making a roux here, and that's just an equal amount of butter and flour mixed together. So roughly 50 grams of butter, like I said, and 50 grams of flour to make this butter flour ball. Here's our milk gently simmering away. And this milk will be taking on all those flavours from the onion and the bay leaf and the peppercorns. And I'm just going to put a half a teaspoon of salt in there, because I forgot that earlier, before adding this slowly to the butter flour ball and mixing it until I have a smooth consistency. And, it doesn't surprise me that I forgot the salt there. Hey, I'd forget my head if it wasn't attached to my neck with skin, cartilage, muscle and numerous vertebrae. I mean, I've been meaning to get the phone fixed for ages, but I keep forgetting to call the phone company about it. You see, whenever the phone rings and I answer, there's never anybody there, so I think we have a problem with the line or something. If any of you know what's going on there, maybe you can help me, so let me know in the comments if you've got any tips, just so I don't have to mess about with call centres and stuff and spend all day on the phone. I'd really appreciate a bit of help there, guys. Anyway, as you can see, I've brought my sauce together now with the last of the milk going in, and I've given it a quick whisk to finish. Usually you would cook this now until it thickens, but we're just going to hang fire here, and you'll see why later. So next I'm just going to chop a medium onion now very finely, and I like chopping onions because I love a bit of a cry on my own every now and again. And I've got 3 chicken breasts here now, and funnily enough, that's one for every phone that my wife owns. I don't know why anyone needs 3 phones. But anyway, I'm cutting the knobbly bits off this chicken now, and I'm going to chop it into bite-sized pieces, and I'm going to season and cook this chicken. But if you already have cooked chicken, you could use that. Or if you have leftover turkey from Thanksgiving or Christmas, that would work great too, if that's the time of year when you're watching this video, of course. But I think for me, freshly cooked, well-seasoned chicken is best for this pie, and I like to coat it in cornstarch to make it extra specially juicy and soft. And a couple of tablespoons of cornstarch is enough for these 3 chicken breasts. So once we've given it a good mash up and we've coated that chicken well, we can go ahead and get it in our pan and cook it for a few minutes, and you can decide how much you want to brown it here. If you're using pre-cooked chicken or Thanksgiving/Christmas leftovers, then you can obviously skip this step. My wife constantly jokes that we've seen our last Christmas together. She's absolutely crackers, she is. She loves making little jokes. Must be why she's so popular. She's made loads of new friends lately. Anywho, just going in with the leek and mushroom we saw gently cooked in bacon fat earlier. And now I'm adding in the sauce, and I've knocked the pan down to a low heat here, and that is going to allow the sauce to thicken gently, and it's also easier to mix everything up with a looser sauce at the beginning, I find, and that's why I didn't thicken it up earlier, you see. And hey, we can really start to bring the filling of our pie together now with our cooked bacon going in, and I like to cook this thin streaky bacon so much it turns crumbly and crispy like this. And once that's in there, let's really start building up the flavours with a teaspoon of salt and a generous pinch of pepper. And any herbs you like can go in now. I'm doing 2 teaspoons of dried oregano and the same of dried thyme. And next I'm going to add some garlic, and you can put however much garlic you want in your pie. Along with a heaped teaspoon of mustard. And to finish off, of course, depending on preference again, around 150 to 200 grams of sweetcorn, and that's pretty much it for the filling, so crank up the heat a little to medium now. Adjust your seasoning to taste, and I'm just putting a little bit more salt in there, and then cook gently to thicken the sauce to the right consistency, and this bit is dead important. You want the sauce in there to almost be thick enough to hold its shape when you go through it with a spoon, and this is exactly what you're looking for. So that's the filling nailed down. And we need that to cool fully now, which is why we did the filling first, and we've been dead clever and time efficient there. But we definitely do need pastry for this pie, otherwise it's just a dead thick chicken soup, isn't it? And I've got my standard pastry recipe on the go here. 400 grams of all-purpose flour, a level teaspoon of salt, a good pinch of pepper, and a teaspoon each of dried oregano and dried thyme, because I just love both of them, just like I love my wife. And you might have noticed I added a half a teaspoon of baking soda in there too, as well as 200 grams of room temperature butter and a beaten egg. And 2 tablespoons of milk wraps this all up nicely. And you can mix this pastry by hand, but it is so much easier with a kitchen machine. So if you haven't got a machine, go out and get one from the shop. Go on. Don't take as long as my wife does when she goes to the shop. 4 hours she was gone yesterday afternoon, and she only went for a pint of milk. Hey, I don't know what gets into that innocent little head of hers, I really don't. She must have run back from the shop though, because she was all out of breath when she got in, and went straight in the shower, bless her. Anyway, I have my pastry ready now, so I'm going to cut that in half and rest it in the fridge for around 30 minutes, and that gives us 1/2 for the base, which I'm rolling out here, and 1/2 for the top crust. So let's get this base in and tidy it all up in readiness for that filling and top crust, eh? And you know... Oh, I'm really sorry, guys. That's the phone. I'm going to have to go and get that. Hang on, just give me a sec, yeah? Hello? 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 Nobody there again. This bloody phone. Don't know what's wrong with it. Anyway, here's the pie bird coming in, look, and this is used to vent steam from the pie to prevent the filling boiling over or through the pastry. This filling boiling over shouldn't be too much of a problem for us, because we cook that filling to the perfect texture. But even so, I would usually make some holes in the top crust to vent steam. I'm not actually going to do that here, because I want to see if this pie bird works as advertised. So I've plonked the pie bird in a central position. I'm just going to spoon the fully cooled filling around it carefully. And these pie birds are cute, aren't they? Hey, I might start collecting them, you know. Little hobby for me. Yeah, I'll take a leaf out of the wife's book, because she's taken up loads of new hobbies lately. Hey, she keeps dead busy. So now I've smoothed out my filling, I'm going to roll out the top crust of this pie now, and I want to be sure to roll it big enough for my 24cm pan, of course. So I'm going to measure it to be sure. And I'm preparing 2 egg yolks, with which I'm going to glaze this spectacular creation. And it's also going to help me stick the top crust to the bottom crust. So I'm painting generously around the edges of the bottom crust here. And I'm going to roll up the top crust on my rolling pin, which is far too small for this job, before rolling it back out on top of the pie and pie bird. And a clever edit here hid the fact that I balls this up a bit, to be honest. But it's all okay really, you know, because I managed to tidy it all up with my hands, what with me being a right smart ass and all that. And trimming the excess with scissors will give us the neatest finish to this pie, I reckon. And I generally like to do this forking around the edges after I've glazed the pie, but after my epic pastry fail, I just want to be sure that the 2 pastry layers are stuck properly. And when I clean up the excess pastry, I will keep a little bit of that to one side, and you'll know why if you've been paying attention. And you can see, when I glaze the pie here, why it's perhaps not such a good idea to do any forking patterns first, as it makes glazing the edges a little more difficult, but it's not the end of the world, and that egg yolk gives a lovely colour going on here, doesn't it? And with that centre section around the pie bird maybe looking a little untidy, I'm going to build a little nest around it, which will look cool and also hide any potential imperfections, and any pastry effects you want to add to the top of the pie should be added after the first glazing stage, so they can stick well but also get a glazing when we do our second brushing. And I waited until the first glaze or egg wash was tacky before adding another one, and that is going to give our pie a beautiful golden colour when it's cooked, almost as nice as the fake tan the wife's been getting on a regular basis lately. She's been working out a lot more too. She loves to take care of herself for me, she does. So this beauty wants at least 70 minutes at the bottom of your preheated oven at 170 Celsius fan setting, and that's around 340 Fahrenheit. And when it comes out, it will look absolutely stunning. Just have a look at that. Whoa. And you want to let this sit and cool a little for about 30 to 45 minutes before you serve it up. And let's check underneath here to see that soft centre where the pie bird was sat, but everything else is cooked beautifully. Epic chicken pie. Reminds me of my wonderful, faithful wife, that. Hot, golden brown, and good enough to eat. And it definitely should be shared. The pie, I mean, obviously. Anyway, I better go anyway, because there's the phone again, eh? Alright, everyone, thanks for watching. Sarah.